Hello, and welcome back to the Cooper Villa channel. I'm Scott Cooper, and I'm here with Aman and Noah Fisher to discuss Aston Villa versus Brighton from Saturday lunchtime kickoff. What a win. We're inside the top five, and that could be Champions League. We've got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We've got the women. We've got the game against Everton in the League Cup. We've got Europa League coming up this week as well. So all of that and much more coming up after this. Okay, so yes, we're back on Coup de Villa, and yeah, we've had a couple of games since we were last on. We had the Everton match in the League Cup that we'll just quickly touch on. We're sorry we didn't get a podcast out for that one, but not a lot to talk about with that game. It was absolutely awful. I don't think Unai Emery was putting it at the top of his priorities. Noah, there was a few changes and some of the worst conceded goals I've ever seen under Unai Emery. It was shocking defending, and we're out the cup.
I mean, it wasn't real Unai Emery football, was it? I just look at that first goal, and I just cannot quite believe they were able to score that. And the atmosphere seemed pretty dead at Villa Park.
I think there was only 27,000.
Very expensive tickets. I could hear the Everton fans. They're obviously very up for the Cooper Cup, which now your brother holds the rights to at the moment. So they finally have won the Cooper Cup, and the first time we've lost to them since we've been promoted.
Yeah, and Kamara got his first goal for the club. That was probably the only positive. And I'm actually kind of liked his celebration, even though we were losing the match. He was pretty pumped with the goal, and I'm glad he is, pumped, and maybe he can get a few more. But it was a shocking game, and really we didn't create a lot in that match. We didn't look bothered at times, and look, I think the less said about that game, the better. We'll move on.
FA Cup's more important.
Yeah, we're going to focus on the FA Cup, the Europa Conference League, and the Premier League. And Aman, the big one was Brighton, of course, on Saturday lunchtime. Both teams going in on good form. And it's going to be a difficult game. I was a little bit worried, but we totally blew them out of the water in that first half, especially.
Yeah, I didn't think I think all of us predicted a win, right? But obviously not as dominant as what we saw. And the start of the match, I got the feeling that it was going to be a tough match, right? Because Billy Gilmore and the other 18-year-old were kind of running the show in midfield. And I think McGinn and then Kamara, or it might have been Louise, actually put in some heavy fouls on him type of thing. Because, I think they kind of had free reign for a little bit and were pressing us quite well. And then I think we quickly realised that, we were getting pressed and we needed to start playing a bit longer. And then once we started playing longer into those channels, and then Ollie, was able to win the first ball, the second ball, they kind of dropped off.
Yeah.
Which meant we had more space to play through. And then once that happened, we were just totally in control. McGinn just turns around and plays a nice through ball to Cash for the first goal, I'm pretty sure, cutback. And I think, I don't even know if he looked up to see if anyone was in the box, but he just got onto the end of a good ball and put it in, cut it back, knowing that there was players being there. But totally dominant, first half.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great first goal. One of the things we've talked about, Noel, before is, Matty Cash has been really good for a while, but we wanted him to up his levels with his final product, and he's really doing that lately. And I think he's taken his game to a different level. I know a lot of the guys that play FPL are getting him in the team because he's getting some good points, and he gets another assist there and got us on the way with the goal from Ollie.
I mean, I think if you go back to podcasts ago, Scott, I was so for Ollie Watkins. I knew he was going to score goals. And since that podcast, it's come true. 4 goals in 2 games now, and he's well on his way. I've had him in my FPL all season. That is true. Technically got 2 assists as well on the weekend. How you want to look at that, I don't know. But FPL gave him 2 assists. For the one was a rebound goal for Douglas Luiz. And had Matty Cash and Diaby, so I was happy as. The first 3 goals were all from my players involved in it. Diaby got an assist for the own goal as well, so I was laughing. And then FPL kind of went downhill from there with a few people not playing. But onto the real stuff. I don't think I've ever seen us play a more clinical Unai Emery game than that. Yeah, I know there's some chances that we might touch on that VAR technically said a bit of talking points and we got lucky. You know, if that's Manchester United, it's not even in the media. It's just an amazing win for United. But for us, it's all in the media.
Yeah, I mean, the VAR on the second and the third goal, Aman, Brighton weren't too happy. And we had here in Australia, Peter Schmeichel on halftime coverage, and he was saying that the second goal from Ollie should have been chalked off because Zaniolo was blocking the goalkeeper's view. But I didn't think that one he was in the sort of vicinity. That would have been harsh one to chalk off. But I think the next goal, the own goal, I think that should have been chalked off because of the foul by Douglas Luiz earlier on in the play. How'd you see that one?
Yeah, just quickly, I wanted to chime in before, but I think since Tommy hasn't been on the pod, Watkins has started to score. So that's an omen or not, because Tommy is one of his biggest critics, let's call it. Loves to give you some positive criticism. On VAR, yeah, I think if either of those goals went against us, then you can kind of see why that is the case, right? I think if we're on the end of those goals, we're probably not going to be happy, but that's football. That's the luck of the draw. Sometimes you're going to get things that go your way, and unfortunately, I mean, you look and see what happened in the Liverpool-Tottenham game. You're going to get things that don't go your way. And yes, going back to the goal against Sheffield United and what's his name, Neeland and stuff, we got lucky there, and maybe we got a bit lucky on the weekend as well. But I can give countless examples of us copping the shit end of the stick as well. Henry Lansbury against Crystal Palace, springs to mind as well. Konsa getting sent off against Man United for apparently, going in studs up on Fernandez or whatever it is like that. So universe balances itself out. You get the good calls, you get the bad calls as well.
That's it. I mean, it hasn't been a good weekend for VAR, Noah, but we won 6-1. I don't think it would have mattered really if one or even maybe both of those goals were chalked off. But I was just really impressed with the way that Emery sort of approached this game, because he saw that Brighton are going to have a lot of the ball. That's the way they play. That's but you can get at them on the transition once you win the ball back, and the pace of Watkins, Diaby, these kind of guys, just to get the ball forward and get it up there quickly, and have lots of shots on goal, get crosses in the box, this sort of thing. It really paid off for us, and it just shows that again that Emery was just going through his Rolodexes of ways to play, and he found the perfect one again.
I mean, no players like to lose, even if it's a Carabao Cup game. No disrespect, the league's way more important than that. We want to finish in Europe, and a team like Brighton, who were third on the table at the start of that match week, they had no easy beats, and they got a great manager. Aston Villa and Brighton are two structurally well managed sides, and to look at the scoreline and have beaten them 6-1, quite remarkable when you think about it, because there have always been close matches between Villa and Brighton. I think we've beaten them 2-1 both times last year. We have a quite decent record against them, but I just never quite seeing us blow them out like that. The way Unai Emery plays, just the players it's his team now. He came in last season, signed John Durant. It was like, oh, who's this guy from America? He's now looking incredibly decent. One preseason of Unai Emery and him. Obviously, Moreno's injured. He's got Diaby. Tielemans is, a little bit disappointing, but he's still got time to settle in. He's not starting for us, and it's paying dividends. I mean, Diaby has got to be out. I know everyone's saying Mattinson for signing of the season.
Yep.
But Diaby, I think, has had a goal contribution almost in every game. He's scored or got an assist. He's just been incredible, and
he's going under the radar.
Extremely under the radar.
He's not getting the sort of the hype of some other big signings, but he's contributed in pretty much every game. And he's definitely been our most consistent player so far this season. And Yeah, it was a bit of a worry to see him sort of hobble off, but
He'll be fine.
yeah, it doesn't look that bad. So, whereas I've heard in some of the stories going around that Douglas Luiz might be carrying a bit of an injury. So I'm not sure if
I haven't seen
how
that
bad that
anyway.
is, but I guess we'll see later in the week against Zrinjski Mostar, who plays. I'm sure there'll be some changes anyway, but I wanted to talk a bit about the second goal, the goal from Ollie, and just the confidence that he's showing now. It's just so different. I mean, when he gets the ball on that left channel, he cuts in and you think, pass it. Diaby's right there, but I kind of do like to see him go for the shot as well, because it just shows that he's, full of confidence. He backs himself, and you can say it's greedy, but, one man's greedy is another one's just clinical striker, that wants to be amongst the goals. So, what did you think of that? And what did you think of the way he's sort of, portraying himself, with the confidence at the moment?
I can jump in with that.
Yeah.
I think we've always said that Ollie's a confidence player. Once he gets one, he'll get going, and he scores his goals in batches. He might start scoring, and then he might have a cold period again of like 3 games or whatever it is like that. But he's always, going to be tenacious, going to be in and around the box, and he loves that left-hand side channel where he can cut in.
Yeah.
I mean, we're it's easy to say when we're watching live, right? Pass, man's open or whatever it is like that. But when you're playing, when you're in the zone, and I can imagine in the Premier League as well, you're in your head, and he obviously knew what he was going to do once he came inside, right? And the shot went in, and it was a great goal. And maybe in another universe or whatever it is, the shot doesn't go in, it gets blocked, and people say, why didn't he pass it? But Ollie's not that sort of striker that does that 10 times a game, right? I think if he does it once or twice and it doesn't come off, then the next one he definitely is passing it. He is definitely passing it.
Yeah.
And you just want to see that from your striker. Your striker's confident. You want him to be hungry. And he scored countless amount of goals in that same type of action as well. So, yeah, all for him doing that, come inside and, beat players. And it's just amazing because I don't rate him technically, but he's still able to come inside and beat 2 players and still score, right? So, yeah, let him do what he does. It worked on the weekend, and all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in the second half, Noel, we came out a little bit slow. Brighton scored and made it 3-1, and I was starting to think, we might have a game on here. But, that sort of little flurry from Brighton lasted maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then we get the 4th goal from Ollie again. That's his hat-trick, this one on his left foot this time. And it was a lovely little move, McGinn chipping it over the top. And I thought when McGinn played the pass, I was like, hit this first time, Ollie. It's like, you're on a hat trick. It's on your right foot. I thought he was just going to leather it. And, but he took his time. He took a touch, got it on his left. And again, it shows an element of confidence from him.
I mean, Brighton were always going to start pretty hot in that second half. I mean, we've seen it when we're playing under Gerrard. For some reason, we used to always start the second half well. It's just the manager's spray, I guess. Like when you're not playing well, what's the last thing you wanted to come out and start the second half poor? No, I thought our goal was quite sloppy to concede, but again, Brighton were all over us for that period of the game. And I think I remember saying it to you boys that like a goal's probably coming here. Like Ansu Fati came on. He's someone that Barcelona thought was going to be the next Lionel Messi. Like he's got something about him. Like if he was named that, he's now at Brighton doing his thing there. And with our 4th goal, which kind of obviously settled the nerves, because like you, Scott, I thought, geez, if Brighton get another one here, sneakily they're back in the game, because they can do that. They're such a good side. And to be 3-0 up at halftime, I couldn't quite believe it, let alone the final score. I think Watkins, he took the ball really well. I don't think the shot was like a great shot, because it took a massive deflection to help it go in. I think it would have been saved if it hadn't taken the deflection, but you got to create your own luck in football. We saw when we beat Liverpool 7-2, we had 3 or 4 deflected goals, because if you don't shoot, you don't score. Let's be honest with you. And Watkins deserved that hat trick. He was outstanding. I think he definitely deserved a 4th or 5th goal in that game. I know when he missed the one-on-one and then Luiz scored. I'm not sure if you guys actually noticed, but when Luiz was off celebrating, Watkins was like smacking the turf.
Yeah.
Like he was quite frustrated that he'd missed. So I'm not sure that's a good or bad thing. I think the England manager's there he's got to be in conversation now for him. But I think he's wanted to score another goal, and I do love to see the passion when he's upset he didn't score. But I think he should also get around his teammates and just kind of keep it inside for a little bit, because obviously you all know he'd be upset if he didn't score.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I think it's one of those things where, yeah, it's not a problem if he's upset, but maybe trying to like rein it in a little bit and, at least get around your teammates. But before that goal, of course, from Louise, we saw a goal from Jacob Ramsey. Lovely goal. I really liked the sub, first of all, because it was at that time of the game that Brighton was starting to look dangerous and have a lot of the ball and create a few chances. And I thought, yes, let's get Ramsey on and let's start running with the ball a bit more, being a bit more direct into the box. Because he's like one of the players, in that sort of midfield that can, take the ball and drive with it. And the way he just took the goal was just beautiful.
Yeah, I think Zaniolo didn't really have the best game. Not saying he had a poor game, but compared to the others, probably not the best game.
Yeah.
And I think Solly March had his number pretty much for the game. Wasn't able to get past him or whatever it is like that. And yeah, that's the whole thing about having a squad, having guys like Jacob Ramsey. He's probably your starting 11 player once he's fully fit, but having guys that can come off the bench and make an impact. And I think we saw the exact same thing against Chelsea, right? And Sanchez made the save where he just comes inside on the right, from the left, and tries to place it in the bottom corner.
Yep.
Kind of used Webster, I think, as a shield, I guess, to stop the keeper from seeing the ball as well. But yeah, glad to see Ramsey back playing. Obviously, he played midweek against Everton, right? Or he wasn't on the bench either, from memory.
I think he played in the cup game. I think he played.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it was a Europa League game, I think it was,
Yeah.
right? Where we thought maybe, he caught the knock in the game before. Is it bad or something like that? So, yeah, good to see him back, getting minutes in the Premier League. Typical Ramsey goal. Noah spoke about Gareth Southgate being there watching. Potentially Ollie Watkins and Ezri Konsa. Ramsey comes back with a goal like that as well. Does he be a smoky, or, Southgate takes a look at him in other games and potentially in another friendly as well? He could get a call up, but yeah.
Well, England, of course, playing Australia in that friendly, so that'll be very interesting to us over here. And there is talk that Watkins will be in the squad. Konsa probably, I would say, is the next most likely, and then just because Ramsey's only just come back from injury, I'd say that would be pretty unlikely, but he'll be in there sooner or later, Noah, because he's a wonder kid. And the way he's come back from this injury and how he was playing before he got injured, like at the end of last season, I was starting to think, he could be our best player or our most important player. And then into the Euros with England on 21s, he was playing really well in that in the European Championships, got injured. Unfortunately, England went on to win that tournament. And then, I think he's ready for that step up.
Oh, he's 100% ready for that next step. I know we're talking about it mainly after the Newcastle game last season, when he just dominated the midfield that day against a Champions League side in Newcastle. And he's definitely ready. I think give him a couple more games and he'll overhaul our midfield. He's an absolute superstar, and nothing Villa fans love more than seeing one of our own play for us. We had Jack Grealish for a long time, and I just think that there's something different about JJ and the Villa fans, I reckon. I don't know. I guess because Grealish left, and then this guy's kind of just come in seamlessly and taken the reins of that. Like, we didn't have to wait quite a long period of time for that. And he's going under the radar. He really is. And he's just doing his job. And I was actually quite surprised when he scored that goal, to be honest, because I know Ramsey's been a goal scorer, but he hasn't scored a goal quite like that. Like, normally he's inside the box, ready for the low cross from one of the fullbacks, but a curler from outside the box wasn't what I quite expected to see. I expected to play it off to Digne and then get the ball into the box in that passage of play. But
he does like that that side foot finish, sort of finesse finish. It sort of reminds me of a goal he scored against Arsenal when it was a consolation goal where it just came to him and he just just pass it into the top corner. It's
it just looks so like elegant, doesn't it? Like, it just looked like he'd done it 1,000 times. Like, if Frank Lampard had scored that goal, it wouldn't have surprised you at all. But someone like JJ, I think he surprised a few people.
Yeah, and the way Aman summed it up, that he used Webster to sort of bend it around him, and he sort of had that in his mind from the moment he first got the ball. I'm going to get it, and I'm going to look like I could go on the outside, and then when they all shift across, it'll give me that little gap. It was a wonderful goal and capped off a great game. I mean, I feel a bit sorry for Brighton, not just for the VAR, but it wasn't a 6-1 drubbing, I don't think, maybe a 3-1, 4-1, but we sort of, went a bit crazy at the end. Douglas Luiz got his goal. He's playing some top quality football. And I think is one of the most underrated midfielders in the league, maybe in the world right now. Like, he's just so consistent. He does everything well. He's him and Kamara just really stepping up these last few games. Like, Kamara's been excellent again. I thought in the first half, especially against Brighton, he was just so dominant. The way he can turn out of trouble when he's, in his own box, or even like around his own box in the defensive areas. He's just so cool, so calm. I love the way he's playing at the moment. And him and McGinn and Luiz, it's just perfect balance. Balance.
It really is. And Douglas Luiz is the first Villa player to score in 5 consecutive home games. He's the only other player to do that, so he's quite remarkable. And we've won 10 Premier League games on the trot at home.
Yeah,
like Villa Park has become a fortress. I know we lost in the Carabao Cup or whatever.
Yeah.
But screw that. We take the Premier League. But I tell you what, I want to touch on someone's stats since Emery's come in.
Yep.
37 games, 21 goals, 7 assists, 2 hat-tricks. That's Ollie Watkins' stats under Emery. That is unbelievable. Now,
I think it's only second to Haaland in terms of goal involvement since he.
But he cops a lot of hate for someone that has those stats under Emery. I know his time under Gerrard wasn't great, but he still finished last season with 14 goals, 15 goals, and he's had it for over the last 3 seasons, and he's going to do it again this year. I hope he actually goes to 20 this year, because I reckon he has the ability to do it. But first of all, sign your contract, Ollie, before you start exploding like that. Like, please sign your contract. And then we'll talk about you getting 20 Premier League goals. But like, if that is like Haaland, he gets all the accolades for. I know he scored like 30 odd goals last season, but he's an English striker that it was second to Harry Kane with Premier League goals since he's been in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And there's no chatter about him. There's nothing about him.
Well, he has been linked to Arsenal a couple of times and this sort of thing. But I just think he's in a really good spot right now. And, we're going in the right direction as a team. So, hopefully he can stick around for a lot longer and keep up the goal scoring. I wanted to touch quickly on the women. It was the start of the WSL this weekend. Villa Park was the first game of the season. They kicked off against Manchester United and unfortunately went down 2-1 in what was a bit of a heartbreaking defeat, but there was some positives. I thought Villa played very well in this match and were actually the better team for large portions. There was 12,500 fans there.
Yeah, record for a women's game.
Yeah, it was really good. I just thought the red card was very, very soft and cost us in the end, even though Rachel Daly scores a brilliant goal. Adriana Leon's got the assist, came on her debut and looked quite lively and set up Daly, who took a nice touch and turn and finish. But then with the 10-man, we couldn't hold on for those last 10 minutes and unfortunately went down 2-1. But I think, Carla Wood's got the team looking good. They've made some big signings over the summer and
really exciting time, Scott. To see 12,500 at Villa Park, that is unbelievable. I think there was over 54,000 at the Emirates to see the Arsenal women's team play as well.
Yep.
So women's football's in a great spot, and hopefully they can get 25,000 at Villa Park one day. Hopefully this season will be amazing, because I know they're still playing games at Warsaw, but how good would it be to have them play every home game at Villa Park if it doesn't overlap? It should be their home. It really should be.
I mean, if they've got the crowd, I mean, if they're playing in front of sort of 5,000 at Villa Park, then it can start to look a bit, it's just an exhibition game or something. It's like nobody's there. But yeah, I mean, like in these big matches where you're against teams like Manchester United and etc. I think, yeah, why not play as many games you can at Villa Park and yeah, please get down and watch if you're there because it seems to be something really good happening there, and really looking forward to that. And Aman, we got Zrinjski Mostar in the Europa Conference League coming up on Thursday. It's a must-win game, considering we're currently bottom of the group, and we need a win. So, and with only this game and the game against Wolves on Sunday before the international break, do you think he'll put out a strong lineup? Because that's some of the talk I've been seeing around.
I think we're not going to see the same lineup as Brighton. I'll be surprised if we see that. I think it'll be a changed squad, maybe not as many changes as the first game. And even then, there was maybe 5 or 6 changes only anyway, right? So
I think there was 6 changes, yeah.
Yeah, so we might only get 4 changes or whatever it is like that, because I still think the Wolves game is important to keep momentum going.
Yeah.
Wolves just beat Man City 2-1. And we've got Wolves and then West Ham. No easy sort of games that we have. Wolves away, right, at Molineux, and then West Ham at home at Villa Park.
Yeah.
So I do think guys like, I think Watkins will get a rest and Duran will start. But yeah, I think
Tielemans probably will play.
Tielemans will come in. I don't think we'll see John McGinn at left back in this game, and Dendoncker playing as the other centre back, or if he did in the first game, I can't remember.
He was playing. I think he was playing like defensive midfield. In that match,
but I don't think
he didn't play. He didn't play very well at all. In that
I don't think
match.
we'll see McGinn at left back. But yeah, I still think he'll give some players a second chance, like Tielemans, maybe Dendoncker even. Ramsey might get a start, or he could give Zaniolo a start, which means Ramsey could start against Wolves as well. Yeah. I reckon potentially he might start Douglas Luiz, just because I know he's 1 card away from a suspension. And then, does he play him in this game and then, hope he doesn't get yellow against Wolves and gets a yellow against West Ham, so he misses the Luton game then? It's a bit of like a tactical yellow card or whatever it is, because he's one yellow card away from suspension. But yeah, I think we'll see a mixed bag between a few guys on the bench and a few guys in the starting 11. And yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we should be getting the 3 points as well.
Must win.
Yeah, it is a must win. I don't know a lot about them, but they did beat AZ Alkmaar in the first match, so they can't be mugs. And I think we're looking at a pretty difficult group here all of a sudden. With that first result against Legia Warsaw, which to be fair is probably one of our more difficult games in the group. I think we're going to have to win these home matches and then hopefully nick a point or 2 from the others, and then that'll be enough to go through. But yeah, I think the likes of Callum Chambers and Longley need to probably sit this one out. If it was for me, I would play the normal back 4 or back 5 even with Emmy, and then make a few changes in the midfield and attack maybe. But I would try and keep that solid back line together, and and then if we're 2 or 3-0 up, maybe make some changes later on in the game. But so let's get on to predictions. So give us a prediction for Zrinjski and then one for Wolves. Noah.
I'll go first. Yeah, so for Zrinjski, I'm going to go 4-0. I think we're going to blow him at the park. Yeah, I think it's a must-win. And we all know it's a must-win, and we need to win big.
Yep.
I think there'll be 3 changes maximum. I think, obviously, Duran will start, and whoever else he wants to play will do that. But I think it'll be a strong team, and I think we'll blow them out the park, as we've said 1,000 times, must win. Yep. And every game at Villa Park's a big game. We don't like to lose there. So for that one, I'm going to go 4-0. Mm-hmm. And for Wolves away, I do like a 2-1 prediction, so I'm going to go 2-1 for that one as well.
2-1 to Villa?
Yes, correct, yeah.
Okay.
1-2, whatever you want to.
All right, well, Aman?
I reckon we'll win Europa Conference League, 5-1. The one goal being conceded because he decides to give Robin Olsen a second chance, which I don't think, to be honest, if there's no need for Robin Olsen to play, he shouldn't play. No disrespect to Robin, but times he's played, he hasn't really performed well. But I reckon Emery will...
I actually thought he was okay against Everton. I'm just going to say that was one of his better games,
It was one of his better games.
Even though we lost, and it was, he still did a few things that made me pull my hair out. He made a couple of good saves, but continue.
5-1 win. And I mean, I was thinking about this in the car today when we were talking about doing the pod. I mean, do we really, predict that we're going to win every game? Like, is that the smart thing to do? Obviously, we have a bit of a competition going on, so going to be tactical, not predict the loss, obviously, but I'm just saying 1-1 draw.
Wow, that's interesting because I was going to predict a draw too in that game, and I'm still going to, and I was going to go 1-1 as well. So I'm going the same as Aman, 1-1 in the Wolves match. For Zrinjski, I'm going to say, I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to say 3-2 Villa.
Yeah,
I think it might be, because I think our defense, if there was changes, which I think there probably will be, I wouldn't make them in the defense, but I think that we could be a little bit vulnerable. But I still think we'll get the win 3-2. All right. So, well, that's it for another week on Coup de Villa. Please like and subscribe as always. Tell a friend. Follow us over on Spotify. Give us the 5-star ratings. We love it over there. And yeah, let us know, in the comments how you think we'll go in our predictions for the Europa League and for Wolves on the weekend. Do you think, Ollie, Konsa, Ramsey will be in the England squad? That's announced on Thursday, I think. So let us know how you think that'll go for Ollie, especially. And we'll be back next week. So up the Villa, and we will see you next week. Later.
Up the Villa.